Hello and welcome to Sean Walker Art. I'm here with another quick art tip. Today's quick tutorial is on colour relationships. In today's quick art tip we will be discussing the following: the monochromatic colour scheme, warm and cool colours, the use of warm and cool colours, interactions of coloured light, explaining additive and subtractive colour mixing, complementary shadow colours, and colour accents. The monochromatic colour scheme. A monochromatic colour scheme is a set scheme for the image you're creating. This monochromatic scheme is a single hue taken through a range of values, as you can see here in my ink drawing of Machynlleth Clock Tower. Another monochromatic scheme can also range in chroma for a single hue, as you can see here in my Silhouette Deer digital painting. Warm and cool colours. To explain warm and cool colours, we can take the colour wheel and cut it in half. As we can see here, orange is the colour placed in the middle of what remains of the spectrum. This half of the colour wheel is known as the warm half. Orange is the warmest colour. Choosing a palette from this half of the colour wheel creates a warm colour scheme, which we can use to give a sense of warmth, sunlight, fire, hot spices, just to name a few. If we take a look at the other half of the colour wheel, where blue is central, this is considered to be the cold half. Using a colour scheme from this side of the colour wheel, we can create a feeling of cold, night, winter and ice. The use of warm and cool colours. You can use warm colour schemes for your palette to really give the impression of warmth and the emotion, like here in my digital painting of the elephant. If you look at my next painting, you can see that I've really managed to capture the freezing temperature by using mainly blues, which of course is the most central colour in the cool colour scheme. When I painted this next piece, I have tried to use the warmth of the sunlight to contrast against the cold and dark of the cave she is in. The contrast of the light and dark with the warm and cold contrast really helps to create the atmosphere. The interactions of coloured light. When two different coloured lights shine on the same spot, the coloured lights mix together and make a new colour. Here we can see that the red light mixed with the green light creates a yellow colour. This is known as additive colour mixing. Additive and subtractive colour mixing. So when we mix coloured lights, this is known as additive colour mix, because a new colour is created by adding one wavelength of a colour to another wavelength, and all these wavelengths reach our eyes. Conversely, when we mix pigments of colours together, this is known as subtractive colour mixing. This is due to creating a new colour by the removal of the light wavelengths by absorption, leaving only the wavelengths reflected of this new colour returning back to the spectrum of light reaching our eyes. Here we can see the difference between additive and subtractive colour mixing. Notice when all the colours overlap on the additive side, the colour turns white, as it contains all the light spectrum, whereas on the subtractive side, all the colours mixed make black because the full spectrum has been absorbed. Complementary shadow colours. In front of us are two lit torches, both hitting the same object from opposite sides. The torch on the left is shining a blue colour, and the one on the right is shining an amber colour. These torches are the only light sources affecting the object and table. Each torch creates its own cast shadow behind the object. What's interesting here is the torchlight colours the shadow beneath it, much like when reflected light occurs. So in this case, the cast shadow created by one light source is the colour of the opposite light source. Colour accents. A colour accent is using a colour in a small amount that isn't present in the rest of the painting. Here I've used colour in my monochromatic drawing to give the point of the story. It should draw your eye and help you realise its importance. A colour accent can also break up any monotony within the piece. When I did this pastel piece, the reference was very cute but a bit boring, so I've used two colour accents, one warm and one cold. I've added the area of warm colour on his shoulder to give the feeling of the sun hitting him. We all know how a cat loves the sun. I also made his eyes a lot more saturated and cool blue. Now we have reached the end. All that remains is to say thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share and hit the bell icon. Feel free to leave a comment or ask me any questions. Goodbye and take care.